In 2023, there was a lot of technology moments that definitely will live on longer. In this video, we're going to go over the top 5 moments of 2023. Hi everyone, my name is Robert Mizen and I make videos on beep beep stuff. And in this video, as we mentioned in the intro, I'm going to pick 5 moments from 2023 that were definitely really good for technology and for people who use it. Starting in no particular order, we're going to start with Fairphone and framework. For many years now, big tech companies have told us that you cannot have repairable devices. They'll become bulky, they'll be dangerous to repair yourself, and they've used security, safety, and other things like that as a way to make sure that we cannot repair devices. Now, over the years, these have gotten worse and worse with gluing in batteries, soldering on components that weren't soldered on in the past. And whilst there have been some innovations in thinness and lightness regarding these devices, in later years these companies did start to attack even ideas of repairability. They would do this in courts, in front of congresses around the world, and state that it will be unsafe. Framework and Fairphone have proven the contrary when it comes to these devices. Framework released the laptop, everyone knows about the Framework laptop by now, and Fairphone released phones that are also replaceable components really easy. And these devices have matured really well and are really good devices, thus proving the larger companies in the tech space that what they mention is a load of BS. Lewis Rossman has made really good videos about right to repair. Right to repair is a really important thing that everyone should be paying attention to if you care about the climate, if you care about recycling and so on, if you care about long-lasting components, long-lasting devices for your electronics. Framework and Fairphone have proven that to be a complete falsehood, and in this case you can definitely find a repairable and upgradable and long-lasting laptop and phone. For those reasons, that is one of my number 1 moments from 2023. Number 2, AI is no secret. Everyone knows about artificial intelligence, and large companies have talked about building data centers and how that only large companies can provide artificial intelligence. Now, whilst researching and developing and doing language models for artificial intelligence does require a lot of power, they have used these avenues to kind of take control. The amount of control that artificial intelligence has regarding just within a few companies, so we're talking Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and so on, the amount of control that these companies have is quite scary because artificial intelligence will keep getting better and more advanced, and they're going to only be controlled by 2 or 3 companies. In 2023, Nextcloud did something quite extraordinary. They allowed you to self-host a kind of smaller version of language-generated models and using AI in your own hardware. And they did this without really bumping up the hardware requirements to run Nextcloud. It was a really groundbreaking moment because in the past, when technologies get advanced, large companies take over these technologies, and then we have to spend years or decades fighting large companies to take back control. If you look at my previous point in this video about right to repair, for example, we've allowed that to get to a certain stage where now we have to fight in courts to be able to repair devices we own. Nextcloud has done something really extraordinary because they've already kind of leveling the playing field when it comes to using artificial intelligence at home. And that's a really good moment for end users and for privacy. So for that reason, Nextcloud's self-hosted AI solutions make it to number 2 on this list. The third thing that happened in 2023 was the European Union. In the last year or two, the European Union has passed a lot of laws and regulations regarding right to repair, access to spare parts, warranty extensions, privacy rules, and so on. Now, whilst you may think that this only applies to European Union citizens, of course it applies to me since I live here, the thing is the effects of some European laws extend further out than the European Union. I will use the Apple USB-C cable as one of those, or replaceable batteries, which they've also enforced. So soon enough, all devices that are sold in the European Union when it comes to phones will have to have user replaceable batteries. Now, if you're not aware, manufacturing costs a lot of money. Research and development, but also the tooling required to produce these phones. So if we look at, say, Apple and Samsung, for example, and other phone companies, they have 2 choices now. One choice is that they will have to do research and development and tooling for 2 separate devices. One they'll sell in the rest of the world and one they'll sell in the European Union. Now, that's going to be expensive. The other solution is that they will just have to sell the user replaceable battery version across the whole world, because economically speaking, most companies cannot avoid selling products in the European Union. It's a market of more than 400 million people with fairly good disposable income. So if you want to make it globally competing, you need to sell devices in the EU. Now, these rules obviously do affect other people outside the EU, which is really great, but also they passed a number of laws about right to repair, warranty extensions, and it seems to be that that's where they're going, and that's a really good thing, because we should have more privacy and we should be able to repair devices that we own, and having the legal backing to do so, not just the technical backing, is really, really important, and that's why it also makes it onto my top 5 moments for 2023. The fourth on the list is the rise of ARM and RISC-V computing. I'm going to mention RISC-V, but we can talk about RISC in general when it comes to this point. In the past, Intel and AMD have controlled the market. Mostly we're talking about Intel, but AMD's rise has been nice because it's added some competition into the sphere. However, ARM's rise into the desktop and the server market does open up a lot of opportunities, especially for performance per watt CPUs. We're already seeing companies like Microsoft and other companies look at data center infrastructure using ARM CPUs, which is really great. There's some really, really exciting developments in desktop ARM computing with ridiculous core counts, very good performance per watt usage, so power efficiency is now becoming a thing. It seems that traditional developments for CPUs are hitting thermal limits, and now cooling them becomes more and more difficult. Now, I'm sure that will continue to develop as we go forward into the years. However, to have alternatives, to have competition, only pushes this development to be even faster. And the fact that ARM is making its way into desktops and into servers is really, really massive for alternative architecture approaches when it comes to computing. And that's been desperately needed for a very long time. But for the developments of ARM and RISC, I'm definitely looking forward to the future when it comes to that, and 2023 certainly had some really good moments for them. Now for the final one, number 5, Linux. It's no surprise that I'm a fan, obviously. I do a lot of content on Linux, but the operating system market is scarily monopolized. You have very closed systems like macOS with their own hardware, and then you have Microsoft's business tactics, which make sure they're dominant in lots of spaces. Now in the server market, Linux is very, very dominant. It's a very big position in the server market and networking in general, but Steam's, like Valve's production with Steam on Linux and then Proton, AMD's opening up to some of their driver code to the open source community, and the community development at large supporting tools to allow people to play games, run software, and use Linux in more day-to-day work is really, really big. And now, whilst the market share for Linux desktop is still really small in comparison to the others, in the last year and longer, but in specifically the last year, it has gone up quite a lot. And that's really exciting to see, because now what we're seeing now is a really good development in usability with Linux. Now in the past, it suffered from user experience development. It was very functional and very powerful, but user experience left something to be desired. But in the last few years, that's definitely gotten a lot better. And if you look in the last couple of years, the rise of gaming, which is a high-end application for a computer to do because of the graphics and memory and CPU loads that gaming normally pushes on computers, but also for things like artificial intelligence, for scientific computing. There are people who now do graphics work full-time on Linux using open source applications. There are very competent open source video editors as well. There's a lot of great software now on Linux, and seeing the growth of that is really, really important. There are more companies who ship Linux as standard now with certain hardware. Still not the majority, obviously, still nothing compared to Apple and to Microsoft, but growth nonetheless, and that growth comes at the expense of the other two. And that means that the market will be balanced. Now in the past years, Windows has gotten quite bad with built-in ads, privacy tracking and so on. Having competition where people are choosing, for example, Linux over Windows because of privacy or because of ad tracking will hopefully make other companies like Microsoft rethink these efforts. and hopefully that will create a better competitive landscape, and it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please do leave a like and comment down below on any of the points that I made, or if you think there were some other points that I had missed that you thought was really good from 2023, and maybe I can bring them up in a future video. As always, I will see you in the next video.